One of the most talked about, most important companies on the entire planet, NVIDIA. It is right at the epicenter of the AI revolution, and its story is just absolutely wild. So let's get into it. To really wrap your head around the sheer scale of NVIDIA today, just look at this number. We're talking about a market cap well into the trillions. I mean, that puts it in a super exclusive club with the biggest companies in history. But the real question is, how on earth did it get here?
And yeah, that's the million-dollar, or I guess trillion-dollar question we're tackling. For decades, if you knew NVIDIA, it was probably because you were a PC gamer. They made the best graphics cards, period. So how did that company become the one building the engines for artificial intelligence? Well, it was kind of a brilliant accident. You see, their GPUs, or graphics cards, were built to do one thing really well: parallel processing. That just means handling thousands of simple calculations all at once to make video games look real. And it turns out, that's the exact same kind of heavy lifting you need to train an AI model. So NVIDIA just found itself in the perfect spot at the absolute perfect time.
So to understand this meteoric rise, you have to look at the bull case. What are the powerful forces that have just strapped a rocket to this company? This is the fuel behind that incredible valuation.
This chart says it all, doesn't it? It shows just how completely the company has transformed. Gaming is still there, it's still a solid business. But look at it, it's been totally eclipsed by the data center segment. And the reason is pretty simple. Pretty much every huge tech company, we're talking Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Meta, you name it, is buying NVIDIA's AI chips by the truckload to build out their AI infrastructure.
Now here's where the story gets really interesting. All of that insane demand has led to financial results that, honestly, you just don't see in the hardware business. It's one thing to sell a ton of stuff, it's a completely different ballgame to be this profitable while doing it.
A gross margin over 70%. Let that sink in. For every dollar of hardware NVIDIA sells, more than 70 cents is gross profit. I mean, those are the kinds of numbers you expect from a company like Microsoft selling software, not from a chip maker. It just shows you their unbelievable pricing power right now.
And that profitability flows right down to the bottom line. A net income margin of over 40% is, well, it's just staggering. It shows incredible efficiency. So this isn't just a growth story. It's a story about jaw-dropping profitability.
And all of that profit does something really important. It builds a fortress of a balance sheet. When you're sitting on a mountain of cash with very little debt, it gives you the freedom to pour billions and billions back into research and development, which is absolutely critical for staying ahead of the competition.
So, looking forward, the growth story really rests on these four pillars. We've talked a lot about the AI boom, but that second one there, the CUDA software moat, is maybe just as important. See, CUDA is the software platform that developers use to actually program NVIDIA's chips. And after years and years, millions of developers are trained on it. It creates this powerful lock-in, this ecosystem, that makes it incredibly difficult for a competitor to just show up and steal market share.
Okay, so with all this incredible success, you have to ask, what could possibly go wrong, right? Well, every great story has its challenges, and NVIDIA is no different. Let's flip the coin and look at the bear case, the potential headwinds that could slow this company down.
First and foremost, competition. And boy, is it heating up. You've got the usual suspects, your AMDs and Intels, who are racing to create competitive chips. But maybe the bigger threat is that NVIDIA's biggest customers, think Google with its TPUs or Amazon with its own custom chips, are now designing their own hardware in-house. Why? To become less dependent on NVIDIA.
And beyond competition, there are three other huge risks to keep an eye on. One, the valuation. The stock is priced for utter perfection, which means any sign that AI demand is slowing could cause a really sharp correction. Two, the supply chain is fragile. NVIDIA relies heavily on one manufacturer, TSMC, which is based in Taiwan, a major geopolitical hotspot. And three, you've got regulatory risk, like US export rules for China, which could cap a big part of their future growth.
So all of this brings us right to the central tension for anyone looking at NVIDIA today. You've got this unbelievable performance and growth on one side and some pretty significant risks on the other. It really all boils down to one question. Is the stock already priced for perfection?
And to get a handle on that, we just need to quickly talk about a key metric, the PE ratio. All it is really is a way to measure how much investors are willing to pay for $1 of a company's profits. So, a higher PE means the market has really high expectations for future growth.
And here's the kicker. NVIDIA's forward PE ratio is way up there, somewhere in the 40 to 50 range. That is a huge premium compared to its peers in the semiconductor industry.
What that means is investors are making a big bet that NVIDIA's crazy growth isn't just going to continue, but that it's going to justify paying that much higher price.
So what's the bottom line here? Well, it really depends on your perspective. If you're a long-term investor and you believe this whole AI build-out is just getting started and has years to go, then NVIDIA is the undisputed leader, and the case is still really strong. But if you're looking at a shorter time frame, you have to be aware of the high volatility. The risk of buying in right at a market peak is very, very real.
You know, at the end of the day, it kind of comes down to this. NVIDIA built the house where the entire AI party is happening. They are selling the picks and shovels in the middle of a digital gold rush. So the multi-trillion-dollar question is simple. How long is this party going to last?